a minute. While we're in it, wait a minute. I don't want to leave.
What is up, Shaylas? How are we doing today? I hope you guys are doing great. I'm not gonna lie, I just recorded at least 20 minutes and then I looked down at my phone and I realized I did not hit record. But I'm back in the car. I'm sweating my little buns off, but I'm doing it for my Shaylas because you guys rock. And so I'm back with the second official episode. Again, still a little embarrassed. I mean, I didn't have to put in the part where I had recorded a whole 20 minutes and realized I wouldn't. But I feel like I needed to because something I'm going to touch in this episode today is being real. So I'm being real with you right now, but this is the second time. And you know what? This just gives me the opportunity to be even better. So jumping right into it. Today we are talking about pumping the iron, exercise. I started lifting about 7.5-ish years ago. And the reason I got into it was mainly because I looked at my mom and she was very active and very fit. And I was like, I want to be like that. Like, that is so awesome, so cool. She lifts big weights. She's so strong. I love and adore my mom. So I started lifting too. Instantly fall in love with it. And I start lifting through our school summer weights program and everything. And then lifting during classes at school. Every time I went in to hit a workout, it was, all right, can I do a little bit better than the last time? Can I PR? What can I do today that I couldn't do last time? Can I push myself? Can I finish the workout even if I'm tired or thirsty or whatever? And so that's the drive and that's where it started. And where I am now, again, I lift 3 or 4 times a week. I love running and I love lifting weights, but I also love playing pickleball and stuff with my friends. Just any sort of activity. I love walking my dog. Just getting outside, just getting some movement. And I think that's the most important thing when it comes to exercise. And again, sometimes I think we get this idea that real fitness is just grinding it out in the gym or running miles and miles and miles a day, which in reality, it's not. Fitness is going to the park with your kids and pushing them on the swing. Fitness can mean a lot of different things to a lot of different people. And we're also going to kind of touch on that today. So let's start with, what are the pros of working out? I think we instantly think of like, oh, yep, stronger, faster, bigger, whatever, right? Yeah. You could also, I think it makes us more confident. And I think that's one of the more obvious ones. I noticed when I started working out, I was very intimidated by the gym. There was just so much to do. I didn't know where to start. I didn't even know how to really train correctly. And so, you kind of just walk around, you kind of just try stuff. And honestly, when I see somebody in the gym on the first day, I think sometimes people are like, what in the world are they doing? But I never think that. I'm thinking, yes, try every machine that you can safely try. Figure out, do you like doing this exercise? One of the quick things I think people need to figure out the fastest is, do I like doing this exercise? Do I like doing this routine? If you don't have to do it, then don't. There's other ways to increase your cardiovascular fitness. You don't have to be a 3-miler. Simply going on a walk with a pet or something of that nature, that works too. What might work for one person may not work for another. We all need to find our niche and find our thing that kind of works when it comes to fitness. On top of being more confident as you become more comfortable, and also become stronger, of course. Again, this is an obvious one. The more you lift, the stronger you'll get if you keep, progressing your weight or your distance. As you increase those things, you should, most of the time, get stronger, get faster, get better, right? I mean, not always per se. It's not always a linear progression, but it almost always remains true that as you keep progressing and I'm going to use the term progressive overload. If you're not for sure what that is, progressive overload is basically, the simplest way I can explain it, if I lift 65 pounds, I squat 65 pounds on day 1. Let me put 2.5 plates on both sides of the barbell and let me do 70. And then next time I'll do 75. You get the gist? So it's just increasing just enough that you're not absolutely just blowing yourself out, but that you can also challenge yourself. But as long as it's somewhat challenging, you are probably working hard. Now, I'm not saying every day is going to be sweating, grunting, losing your mind while you're working out. It may not be. But if you finish and you really felt like, yeah, I put in some effort, I put in some work, then that's good enough, even if your muscles aren't absolutely zonked. And then the last part of workout of the good things that I think come from working out are the transferable physical abilities. For example, I work fast food. I feel like when I started working, some tasks were quite easy, honestly. And I think it definitely had to do with the fact that I had been lifting for a few years. Yes, working out helped me do better at work, but also my work helped improve my performance in the gym. When I was working fast food, sometimes I just had to get down low and I had to get into some semi-awkward positions. And so I noticed, I went back to the gym, my squat depth had improved a little bit. Not drastically enough that somebody across the gym would probably notice, but enough that I noticed, because I'm like, this used to be a depth that was so uncomfortable to hit. And so I thought that was so neat. And it was something that I hadn't really thought about, how it transfers both ways. And so that was super cool. So I would definitely keep that in mind. We've kind of touched on a lot of the benefits of exercise, but we definitely also have to address the downsides of exercise. And I know it's crazy, like, it almost sounds counterintuitive to think there's a downside. Like, absolutely. One of the first ones that comes to mind for me is body dysmorphia. It's where you look in the mirror and you might have a great physique, but for some reason you just think, oh, it could be better, right? It could be better. Well, the problem is you can keep building and building and building, but every time you go and look back in the mirror, there's a chance that you say, oh, well, it can be better. But can it? At what point is peak going to really be enough? So that's definitely something I would keep in mind. Have a goal. I don't think the goal always has to be aesthetic. I think people get much better results when their goal is more focused on, let's hit a certain rep range, let's hit a certain weight, let's be eating a certain amount of protein consistently every single day. And also, I forgot to premise this, or kind of start with this at the beginning, I am not a medical professional. I am not licensed in any way, shape, or form to talk about physiology or anything like that. I literally this is all based off of my own experience, so please take it with a grain of salt. And if you plan to start working out or something, doing something crazy, drastically different, definitely talk to a medical professional, doctor, whatever. I'm just throwing that out there. The body dysmorphia, and this kind of brings me to my next sub point, is comparisons. I think a lot of the time in the fitness realm and the athletic realm, we do that, where we compare ourselves to the next athlete or the guy at the squat rack next to us, right? And it's like, oh, he or she, they look like a certain way, and oh man, like, I don't look like that. Well, dang it. Well, we're all very different, and we all have a different biological makeup, right? And so a physique that's attainable for one person may not be for the next person. And that kind of brings me to my last con of working out, is the fact that we don't always address and figure out what our biological limitations are prior to beginning lifting or training. I personally experienced this. I had this idea, this image in my head of what I wanted to look like, and I just did everything I could. I worked out so much to try to achieve that. And finally, I hit a point where I woke up and I was like, what am I doing? That's not attainable. And even if it is attainable, it's not sustainable. Unfortunately, some things just come at a cost. If you want to have absolutely ripped and shredded abs, perfect V, taper, perfect tone, quote unquote, perfect in quotes every time, the kind of diet it takes? How often you have to work out? How consistent you have to be? The calorie deficit you have to be in? That's the part people don't always think about. And also, but again, the biggest thing being, somebody could use an exact certain diet, workout schedule, routine, and the next person could also use it, and they might look completely different. And again, it's all just based on biology. Another big thing that I think kind of goes into workouts that people sometimes think about and people sometimes don't is social media influence. You hop on Instagram and you see a fitness influencer posting a pic in the gym, and their physique looks incredible. Legs, arms, back, their abs, everything. And you think, oh my gosh, they look so awesome, don't they? Like, well, I would even like to look like that, right? But what we don't realize is, how long did they spend setting up the camera in the perfect angle? How long did they spend fixing the lighting? How little water did they drink before they went to the gym so that they wouldn't be holding any water? How little did they eat so that they wouldn't be bloated? How long did they just work out to get the perfect pump, right? Those are the questions that don't get answered in the caption. And it's, who had my workout today. We're gonna keep working hard, do your best on your own workouts, and I'm so encouraging, right? And brand deal, hashtag athletic, hashtag beauty queen, hashtag whatever, right? But nowhere in there did they say, oh, I'm also using this model of camera on this model tripod set exactly 35 degrees upwards, also with this certain brand of lighting. We don't get all that, right? So again, they might look perfect, but I promise you they aren't. 10 minutes after that photo was taken, they probably look like a normal human being again. All of that just for a whole 30-second photo shoot in their gym after doing whatever. Again, we never know the process. That's not a question that gets answered for us. If you see a new diet online, right, it's like, oh, and you'll lose 20 pounds in 2 weeks. Well, sure, but am I drinking nothing but water with lemon? Because that's not sustainable. I would, honestly, if I had to drink water with lemon and only that, I'd probably die, because I'm kind of a D1 big bag. All right, I love a little protein here and there. I love a little ice cream, a little cookie. I can imagine just water with lemon. I don't even like lemon that much. They're spicy, man. Yeah, then it's probably not worth it. Influencers online might look perfect. They're not. And sometimes the physique they have is just not attainable. What exactly does your workout have to look like? How many times do I have to work out? How many grams of protein do I have to eat a day? How much water do I have to drink a day? How many times do I have to run? Woo, right? And I guarantee you, a lot of those numbers are going to be very high. A lot of those figures are going to be high. And what's unfortunate is even worse is the calories might be low. That's not fun. I promise you that. It's not fun to try to hit high protein while staying low calorie. But next time you see an influencer, don't just immediately jump to, I want to look like that. That's what I'm going to shoot for. Because you also have to just keep in mind that may not be possible. Do your best. Do what makes you happy, confident, and comfortable, right? And so, moving on from that, let's talk about what working out actually looks like. And I'll use my own activities and experience for this. And so, sometimes, I'm going to be very honest, sometimes my workouts are random. They're sporadic. Sometimes it's leg day and I just up and decide I'm going to do arms. And sometimes it's arm day and I just up and decide I'm going to do legs. You never know. But what I try to do is always make sure that there's at least some balance. It's okay to walk into the gym, do 2 sets of squats, and then be like, I kind of want to go for a run. That literally is exactly something that happens to me all the time. I will be mid-workout, and I will literally be like, it'll hit me in the middle of a set. I'll be like, I want to go for a run. I do not want to be lifting right now. I want to run. And sure enough, I'll rack up pretty quick and get out of there and go for my run. Because that's okay. The volume also sometimes differs in my workouts. We think, okay, like I have to get into the gym and hit it with the same intensity, the same volume every single time, right? No. There are days where, I'm human. And so there's days where I wake up and I'm energized and I'm ready to go. And I've had some water, I've had some fuel. And I get in there and I PR and I'm just repping out squats and bench press and whatever else. And there's days I wake up and I'm practically hobble into the gym because I worked a closing shift the night before, didn't hardly eat the day before, didn't get up and eat anything or drink any water, just went straight to the gym. And sometimes I get in there and I do 3 sets of squats and nothing else. And I say, all right, because at least I showed up. And again, we're going to kind of talk about that too as we get closer to the end. I'm going to definitely hit on that. But yeah, working out for me, it's random, sporadic. The volume, it changes. It's not the same every day. I lift about 3 to 4 times a week, but even if I only get 2 in, it's a-okay, we're human, we have fluctuating schedules, and we need to definitely give ourselves grace, for sure. Also, like to do, like I mentioned, a mix of strength and conditioning. I think that's super duper important, but I think it also, again, just because I do it doesn't mean everybody should. It also really just depends on your goals. If your goal is to be able to run longer, faster, to be able to compete for longer periods, then yeah, focusing on your endurance and your conditioning is very important. But if you just need pure brute strength and that's all you're looking for, yeah, strengthening is actually probably going to be your best bet. Getting in, lifting weights, or doing body weight exercises, just building those muscles. The intent can sometimes look so different from workout to workout. One day, my intent for going on a run might just be, I just need to kind of get out of my head and just get out in nature. And then some days it's, I want to challenge myself. I want to see if I can hit my distance goal or my time goal. So it really differs, and that's okay too. You don't always have to go in with the mindset of, oh, I'm going to hit this at 100 PR. And the last but most important thing that I can give based on what working out looks like for me is prioritizing rest. And I'm still, don't get me wrong, I'm like literally right now as I speak trying to work on being better about this, and that is prioritizing rest. So many times I will force myself out of bed and try to force my way through my whole entire workout. Why? I can't even tell you why. Because really, seriously, what is the reason? Why am I forcing myself out of bed after I had a rough night of sleep and only slept for 2 hours? I didn't eat anything and I just got up and came straight to the gym. And I'm shocked that I'm not having a good workout and that my body feels bad. Like, that's the moments where I need somebody to be like, come on, Lily, what are you doing, bro? Like, what am I doing? We have to prioritize rest. And again, this is something that's not just a concept that can be applied in fitness, but really just across the board, is making sure that your body is rested and well taken care of, because you can't perform if you don't have something to perform with. Oh my goodness, could you imagine if I come on stage to play a flute solo without a flute? I feel like my guests would be so, like, they would be like, oh my god, like, what are you doing? Like, we expected something else. And I'd be like, oh my god, girl, I'm so sorry, I forgot my flute at home. I can sing you the piece I was gonna play. No, don't do that. We don't want that. Right. So you can't show up to the gym completely empty on fuel, water, everything, rest, and expect to just knock the workout out of the park. No, I'm not saying that it doesn't happen. I mean, there are days that I don't know how I do the impossible. I might be running on literally negative sleep and I still go in and have a decent workout, but those days are far and few. Most of the time, if I'm not rested, I don't have a good workout. And I see this a lot, especially having just finished up high school sports and stuff, is a lot of the times once our athletes start getting ran down, we just do not perform well. And there's no time for us to prioritize rest. Our coaches just would not allow for that, unfortunately. And so we would see and feel the results. That's why I think it's so important that I always want to push is just make sure you're taking care of you, taking care of your body first. And then you can try to challenge yourself and push yourself after that. I love talking about this kind of stuff. Fitness is my jam. But again, I think everyone should make their own style. If you're gonna start lifting, don't just do what you see people do on social media. Don't just do what you hear people talk about sometimes. Make it your own, kind of do your own thing. Sure, you can have ChatGPT write you a workout, but switch it up. Switch it up a little bit and see what else you can throw in there. Do a variation on what was recommended. There's so many different things you can do. If you need a template, that's perfectly okay. Like, I'm not saying don't follow a template, don't use a workout somebody gave you. Like, absolutely. But make sure that you're doing it and you're enjoying it and that it is authentic to you in some way. Even if that means you begin every workout with 10 push-ups and end every workout with 10 sit-ups. A workout can also be unconventional. This is one of those things where I'll never forget the day that I was in the gym and I was doing Olympic lifts. And this was back when I was like probably peak athlete for Lily, honestly. And I was doing Olympic lifts in the gym and I got so many weird looks. Like people just looking at me across the gym like I was nuts. And I'm like, yeah, I know. I'm like, it does kind of look weird that I'm doing a hang snatch in the middle of the gym. Like I get it. But we do, again, at the time, I loved doing Olympic lifts, and that's how I wanted to improve and get better, and so that's what I did, and I didn't really care that people would give me nasty looks, like, what is she doing? Like, why is she moving the bar? Like, come on, because it needs to go above my head. Sorry, but I'm just saying, like, there's a method to my madness, but you're just not understanding, and come over and ask me, babes, and I will tell you all about this, because this is so great. This is literally making me look like the Greek goddess, okay, girl? Sorry, the inner monologue going on there, but No, for real. If your workout looks like flipping and flopping all over the ground, but you know it's working, get it, girl. Get it. The way I literally do not be paying attention to people in the gym. Like, I might glance over, but like sometimes most of the time I'm like, I glance over and I'm like trying to look at like maybe a clock on the wall or something. I'm not even worried about them. And even if I do peep somebody doing something weird, I might think in my head, oh, well, that's a choice. And then I move on. Like, I don't linger. Like, I don't care. Do your thing. It does not hurt me that you're over in the corner flopping around on the ground like a fish. Like a fish. If that's your workout, like, hell, maybe I need to be trying that. Maybe what I'm doing is not working. I need to be flopping on the ground like a fish in the corner too. Like, if that's how you get abs, then hell yeah, babes, by all means, do it. The biggest point that I can make, and again, I don't think I hit this very much, but that's why I'm going to hit it right now at the end, because I want it to stick in your brain. If you don't remember anything else I've said, at least remember this. That consistency will beat perfection every single time. And that's not just with fitness. Again, some of these principles that I've talked about are applicable in so many different ways. And so being consistent, constantly showing up, even if it's doing the bare minimum, if you at least show up every single day. Consistency throughout the week doesn't look like, okay, I'm going to lift for 45 minutes each day and do at least 20,000 squats, right? No, that's you need more medication. You would be better with medication if that's what you're doing. But no, seriously, one day it could be, I'm going to go for a light jog. And then maybe the next day it is, I'm going to see if I can PR on squats. And then maybe the next day I'm going to go outside with my son and throw a baseball at the dog. No, I'm so sorry. That's terrible. Don't throw baseballs at your dog. But no, seriously. It can look different every day, and it can be a different activity every day if you want. If you want to do 10 fish flops a day in the corner of the gym, I can't reiterate enough. Please, if you send me a video of you doing 10 fish flops, I will personally shout you out or something. Like, please, I really want to see somebody do fish flops. Like, I will do them with you, because I want to know if they work. But no, okay, sorry, I'm locking back in. If you have any questions about the pros or the cons of working out, let me know. If you want to talk more about how social media influences fitness, I would love to talk about that too. That is obviously a conversation I enjoy having. Bulking, cutting. Again, I'm not really the best person to ask because I kind of do it like in an unconventional way, but you can definitely talk to friends, family, buddies about it, or this is a great idea. Talk to a medical professional or somebody who is well versed in these things, not just me yapping on the internet. Like, I know what I'm talking about. I mean, yeah, I'm gonna be real. I don't know what I'm talking about. I don't have a college degree yet, but we're getting there. So, I'm done yapping. This could have been the world's most boring episode, and if it was, I'm so sorry. I'm legit kind of a nerd when it comes to this stuff. But I promise the next one will be better. I'm going to be trying to get some guests on in the next. It's just been a really busy weekend. All of the people on my guest list have just been really busy, and I totally get it. I'm not holding that against them, and so, those episodes should be very fun, very exciting. I know these are the kind of episodes where it's hit or miss, and it may not be interesting, or it may not. Thank you so much for listening, and if you somehow did make it to this part, oh my god, you're an elite Shayla, okay? I swear, both sides of that pillow better be cold. If they're not, I will literally file a complaint with the pillow myself. Do not stop your talking in the shower, because you don't deserve that. You are literally so elite, so awesome. So awesome. You're invited to my birthday. I'm not even going to cancel Christmas for you anymore. So please take care. Keep it chill. And keep being so Shayla. Thank you for listening.